So a little background on where these guys came from. I picked them up off of 2 salvaged Class A RVs. They were high-end RVs, which meant the doors were insulated and they had really good hardware, which is awesome because the bays on the new rig will also be insulated and heated. So these will come in handy. As you can tell, I had to modify them completely to get them to fit my specific dimensions, but in the end, it worked out pretty well.
Different sizes, different lengths. We got the longer ones that are close to 48 inches, I think, here, and they're about 22 to 29 inches wide. You can see I'm starting to take the door hardware apart. Out of this one was damaged when I got it, and all I'm really doing is reconfiguring these guys. So here's a door that's going to become my rear driver's side door. And I've got a cut, as you can see, I've started working on this one, which was the same size as that one. And I took it, put it on the table saw, and that's how much different it is. You can see the length came off and the width came off. The one thing I had to keep were a couple things. Was the placement of the handle versus the outside edge. So I had to figure that out. I'm going to wrap the bottom, so I'm going to bend. This is my top. I'm going to bend the bottom, find a break and bend that to fit around the framing. There is the interior panel, and all I did was drill out the heads of the rivets, and I could start pulling this thing apart. And I actually threw the, once I got that panel off and figured out what was going on the inside of these doors, I saw a frame with some head insulation in there. It had this 1.25 inch polystyrene foam with some obviously spray adhesive on it. And I pulled that out because it wasn't in there very well to begin with. It was tucked in, but it wasn't set very well. And have cut this thing apart, and I've actually, this left side and the top are still original, just cut down in length. And what I did is that this is a hinge tie, basically a chain that keeps the door from swinging open. That's where it ties into. You can see the original door had some bolts heat pressed into it, which are still on the inside of this guy. There's 2 of them left. I had to cut that one down because that's where the hinge goes. But the crazy thing was pulling this door apart. I don't know if you can see it or not. There is a layer of adhesive that is a mother to peel up. We've used everything from mineral spirits to this Goo Gone, which actually is Home Depot, which works really well. That got most of it off the door panel. But I've had to go to a heat gun and a stiff 5-way to try to get most of it off. And it's a little sticky now, but it's not like it was. This is the stickiest stuff I've ever seen. It's about as harsh as that VHB tape I use on the panels, but it's clear. So we're pulling those apart, resizing it, and I'm going to weld these corners back together, weld my support back together for the latch, weld a little piece on because I cut this short here for my hinge tie, and kind of size it, and then throw the inside panel on the table saw, cut that down to size. I think the next one, I'm actually going to cut the entire door down to size on the table saw. It's actually a bit larger because I have to fold the bottom edge of that outside panel, and then I'll have to recut another 1.5 inches off the bottom of the inside panel so it fits. picked up ever so slightly, and the 20 pounds of aluminum and plastic and dust and whatever else is now in there. And I'm just about ready for powder coat. I've got one more door, the main door to the coach, that I've got to pull apart and strip down and get ready. But there's my passenger doors on that side. Those are actually the driver's side frames. And then my driver's side doors. And then my shells, and then the passenger frames. All I have to do for the frames yet is cut a square stock or a piece of flat stock and weld that in the corners just for a little extra bracing. And then the last piece is actually still on the coach. We got to figure out how to get it off. And there is the pile of scrap left from all the doors. Frames and shells and whatever else. That's going to the scrapyard. Got to recycle, y'all. And here is the last piece of the puzzle. I've got to pull the hardware off, obviously, and I'm hoping this thing weighs, I don't know, about 110, 120 pounds. It is a heavy SOB. So we're going to see if we can get the shell off and throw that in with the powder coating supply and get her done. But yeah, we're almost there. Woo woo.